The first thing Thomas Reed noticed was the smile. It was fragile and unfamiliar, like something forgotten and suddenly remembered. In a quiet family restaurant just outside Columbus, Ohio, a disabled woman sat in a wheelchair near the window, sunlight brushing her face, and for the first time in years, she was smiling as if the weight of the world had briefly loosened its grip. Thomas, a billionaire known across the United States for his ruthless business instincts and emotional distance, froze mid-step because something about that smile felt like it was not supposed to exist. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet power of human compassion, take a moment right now to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel, because stories like this remind us what truly matters. Thomas had built his empire from steel and silence. Raised in foster homes across Pennsylvania, he learned early that survival meant never needing anyone. By 48, he owned investment firms, hotels, and technology startups across the country. His life ran on schedules, assistants, and guarded emotions. That afternoon, he had stopped at the small roadside restaurant only because his private driver was delayed and his phone battery was dying. He expected nothing more than coffee and quiet. Instead, he found himself watching a moment that did not fit into the cold logic of his world. The woman in the wheelchair was named Ruth Miller. Years earlier, a spinal injury from a hit-and-run accident in Indiana had taken her ability to walk and slowly stripped away her joy. Medical bills drained what little savings she had, and her husband passed away not long after, leaving her to navigate pain, depression, and isolation alone. Smiles became rare, almost non-existent. Eating out was a struggle, not because of hunger, but because the world often looked through her instead of at her. Yet here she was, smiling softly, her eyes alive with something close to peace. Standing beside her was a young black waitress named Naomi Carter. She wore a simple uniform, her hair pulled back neatly, her movements gentle and deliberate. Naomi was feeding Ruth carefully, spoon by spoon, with a patience that felt almost sacred. There was no rush, no irritation, no obligation visible in her posture. She wiped Ruth's hands, adjusted her napkin, and leaned closer to make sure nothing spilled. It was not part of her job. Thomas knew that instinctively. This was something else entirely. Naomi's life had never been easy. Born and raised on the south side of Chicago, she lost her mother to illness at 14 and took on responsibility early. Faith became her anchor, service her language. She moved to Ohio chasing stability, working double shifts while sending money back to help her younger brother finish school. At the restaurant, she was known for kindness that went beyond tips. Customers remembered how she noticed details others ignored, how she treated loneliness like something that deserved attention. Ruth was not her first act of compassion, but she might have been her most meaningful. Thomas sat at a corner table, untouched coffee growing cold, as memories he buried decades ago began to surface. He remembered a woman from his childhood, a foster mother named Margaret, who once fed him when he was sick, humming softly while the world outside felt cruel and indifferent. He had not thought of her in years. Watching Naomi and Ruth, that long-buried warmth returned with force, unsettling him more than any boardroom confrontation ever had. As minutes passed, Thomas observed how Ruth's smile grew steadier, how her shoulders relaxed, how her eyes followed Naomi with trust. This was not pity. It was dignity being restored in small, careful motions. Other diners glanced briefly and returned to their meals, unaware they were witnessing something extraordinary. Thomas felt a tightness in his chest that money had never been able to ease. He realized then how disconnected he had become from real humanity, how success had insulated him from moments that actually mattered. After Naomi finished feeding Ruth, she adjusted the wheelchair and made sure the sunlight was not too harsh. Ruth's smile lingered even as Naomi stepped away to continue her shift. Thomas noticed Ruth touch her own cheek, as if surprised it was still lifted. That simple gesture broke something open inside him. He thought about the millions he spent on art, on property, on investments that brought no warmth. None of it compared to what he was witnessing for free. Thomas asked the manager about the woman and the waitress, learning pieces of their stories quietly. He learned about Ruth's accident, her loneliness, and how Naomi often stayed after her shift to help her eat because Ruth's hands trembled too much from nerve damage. No one told Naomi to do it. She simply did. That night, Thomas left the restaurant changed, carrying with him an image he could not forget. In the weeks that followed, Thomas could not return to his usual routines. Meetings felt hollow. Profits felt irrelevant. He began researching disability support programs, quietly funding adaptive housing initiatives across Ohio and Indiana. He arranged for Ruth to receive specialized in-home care, physical therapy, and a renovated apartment designed for her needs, all without attaching his name. For Naomi, he established a scholarship fund under a foundation that supported caregivers and service workers pursuing education. He did not want recognition. He wanted alignment with the man he once was before the world hardened him. Months later, Thomas returned to the same restaurant. Ruth was there again, healthier, her posture stronger, her smile now familiar rather than rare. Naomi was still working, still kind, unaware of the ripple effects her compassion had caused. Thomas watched from a distance, feeling something close to gratitude, something dangerously like hope. He understood then that true wealth was not about accumulation, but about awareness. About noticing. If this story has touched your heart even a little, please take a moment to like the video, share it with someone who believes in goodness, and subscribe, because stories like Ruth's and Naomi's deserve to be heard. Before the ending, we have one special request for you. Please comment the word kindness below if you believe small acts can change lives. Thomas never revealed himself to Ruth or Naomi. He did not need to. The smile he saw that first day had already given him something priceless. In a country as vast and busy as the United States, where millions pass each other unseen, one moment of care had quietly rewritten 3 lives. And somewhere in that small restaurant, sunlight still fell gently on a woman who remembered how to smile, because someone chose to notice her.